Fabulous Football Friday, sponsored by Window World Auto Buyers and ARH. Here we go. Week 3, baby. Fabulous Football Friday is here, and it's ready to go. It's a statement week this week. We've seen teams adjust. We've seen how teams have come out after week 1 and how they've moved on from week 2, whether they got better or whether they got worse. Now you're in week 3. It's a statement week. You are who you are at this point. You obviously can get better as the weeks go on, but this is when you can really put up a statement and show teams who you are. Let's bring in my guy, Matt Rainier. Matt, a lot going on this week. Oak Hill, Princeton, obviously the big one. You were out at Shady. We had Greenbrier East, who's undefeated, and then James Monroe and Bluefield. Crazy week.
Absolutely. The high school football season, it really is a puzzle, and week 3 is when we start to see some of the pieces come into play and really start to see what this season is going to look like. Like you said, this is a statement week for a lot of teams. This is where we start to figure out who they really are. Are they starting off hot? Was a slow start just a fluke? We'll find out in just a little bit.
You're spot on, Matt. That's exactly what this week is about. Teams can separate themselves from each other, or other teams can get closer to the top. Let's go back now to where we were all day long. Princeton, undefeated, hosting the undefeated Red Devils. What a season, what couple seasons the Red Devils had, but the one challenge, the one thing they can't get over, the Tigers. Was tonight the night for our game of the week, sponsored by C. Adam Tony Tire Pros? Let's go out to Princeton. We head out to Annie Honeycutt Stadium for an intriguing matchup between two unbeaten teams. Devon Marion looking to finally overcome Princeton for the first time in his career as Oak Hill head coach, but he needs to get past Chance Barker, who had a record-setting day today. More on that in a second. We need to talk about Brad Mosser. He's going to take that opening kickoff from the 5, look upfield, and just outrun everyone else. That's a huge opening touchdown. You want to talk about a statement? There's the statement by Princeton. The first play of the game, Princeton comes out of the gate hot, and what happens when you win on special teams? It fires up your defense. Oak Hill's opening drive sputters out at midfield as a whole pack of Tigers get the sack on Endicott. So now Princeton back on offense, and it's time for their passing attack. Barker puts up a 50-50 ball at the sideline, and Josiah Campbell comes up with it and rumbles into the end zone. 14-0 Princeton within the first 3 minutes of the game. This Oak Hill team isn't going to go down without a fight. Ready? Cade Compton getting the carry and ripping it up the middle. Breaks off a couple of tackles at the line of scrimmage, rips through the secondary for a huge gain. Just a few plays later, Endicott now in shotgun. He connects with his guy, Carson Treadway, on the crossing route. He leans across the end zone, and Oak Hill gets on the board. They respond, but Princeton blocks the extra point, making it 14-6. Now Princeton is driving. They are moving the ball as Barker evades the pressure, gets his eyes downfield, completes it on the sideline to Mosser, but Oak Hill ends up standing tall. Their secondary comes up big, making a very clutch breakup. The passing play, Princeton turns the ball over on downs, but Oak Hill, they can't get anything going on offense. Nothing at all. Endicott here, you'll see it. He tries a pass deep up the field, and Alexander Cox steps up and makes a great play on the ball, nearly picking the ball off in the process. So Oak Hill has to punt. Oh no, it's blocked. Special teams unit comes up huge. They block the punt and return it to the 1-yard line. And from there, Brad Mosser does what he does. Punches in the ball, 21-7 Princeton. Princeton's defense, Princeton's whole team smells blood in the water. That's what they do. That's Brad Mosser on the tight coverage. How many times are we going to say his name tonight? Oak Hill gives it up on downs. Second quarter now. Guess who? Mosser stays dominating. He takes the shovel pass from Barker, takes it around the end and all the way to the house. Great play by Mosser, but also a huge moment for Chance Barker. That is his 91st career touchdown pass, a Princeton record. Oak Hill, though, is hanging around. They want to spoil the record-setting night for Barker. Endicott keeps it himself. And look at him go. He takes upfield with a big gainer, using his legs, putting the ball in his hands for something. So can he keep it going? Well, he says, let me do it again. This time, he goes around the right side, scrambling for another decent chunk of yardage. There we go. Endicott ready to show some moxie here. Then Compton is going to cap it off. He makes an amazing cut in the backfield and rips straight up the middle, carrying the defender into the end zone. Touchdown, Oak Hill. There's life for the Red Devils. Oak Hill gets the 2-point conversion, and then on the next drive, a stop on defense. Now they have the ball again, and they're driving up the field. Endicott around right the side. Another big gain, but the Princeton defense stands tall. They get a huge interception in the red zone. That's Jake Belcher catching the tip ball. Princeton goes on to win 56-20. Massive win there by Princeton. They really know how to cap off a game with the talent they have. Let's go full screen breakdown to show you what Brad Mosser brings to this team. This guy is absolutely outstanding. I'm not sure if we have it right here. Here, let's go and roll this right now, Caleb. Pulling this out. Here's the first play of the game. And we just talked about it, Matt and I, setting the tone. Brad Mosser, look at that massive block. 2 guys take out 1, and then Brad Mosser basically does it from there. Good blocking up front, but that one key block that Micah showed you with the circle gave Mosser the time to use his speed and his efficiency to do the rest. Then Chance Barker calls him over. Keep playing it. Just running this through, Caleb. Plays it over, gives it to Mosser. Barker does a good job faking, looking like he still has it. And then look at that, 56 of Oak Hill. He had him, but Mosser's so quick and so slippery, he just ran right past him. He couldn't get the grips on Mosser. And that's how things change. Mosser is such a game level changer that does it at all 3 phases. He showed it there for Princeton. And then the last one, he shows it on defense. Endicott steps up, and Mosser wasn't even in the play, comes out of the scene, into the scene, does a great job of breaking it up, and that is why Princeton goes on to win. Now, Matt, I will say this. The score is a bit misleading. Oak Hill really killed themselves in this one. 14-7 game, basically, you give the block punt up. Princeton is too good of a team to make those mistakes. Oak Hill can never make mistakes like that if they ever want to beat Princeton.
Yeah, and you mentioned how the score is misleading for our next game. The score also was a little misleading. We'll get to that in a little bit, but you mentioned that block punt. That changed everything for them. But for now, though, our next game of the night, we got Shady Spring taking on Nicholas County. So let's jump out right into the action and jump right into it. It's a great game at Shady Spring as they get set. The Tigers hosting the Grizzlies. Here we go, starting things off. They're running out of the tunnel, waving the flag. And we're set to go. Starting things off here, it's going to be Lucas Milium running up the right side or the left side, and he races and trips there at the end, but he's able to get in for an easy score. They get a 2-point conversion. It's 8-0. The Tigers, though, Cal Colacerto going for the end zone, finds his man Miles Clark. Is he in? Officials talked it over. They ruled it a touchdown, and just like that, we're tied up at 8 apiece. Now Devin Nash for the Grizzlies. He finds a lane, makes a man miss. Multiple people got to bring him down. They bring him down close around the 7, and that would set up another easy touchdown run for Milam as the Grizzlies retake the lead. Colacerto trying to throw, but he throws it right to the opposition. That's Cooper Lanham. He takes it back to the house for 6. A great defensive play after they go on a long touchdown drive. They get another 2-point conversion. That was the theme of the night. Everyone going for 2-point conversions. 24-8 now. The Tigers, though, they're trying to make it a 1-score game. Colacerto, but he throws it right into the hands of Carter Meadows. Takes it back to the crib. Touchdown, Grizzlies. And just like that, the pendulum swung hard. It's 30-8 in the blink of an eye. Just before half, Grizzlies trying to add to their lead to see if they can make it a 4-score game. But it's Blake Snodgrass that's going to pick it off at the goal line to stop the score. But the Grizzlies, they get a fumble on the opening drive of the second half, and they end up right here. The wideout, Milium, throwing him to the running back, Nash. He runs it in. It's now 38-8. Both teams scored again to give us one final score of 46-16.
Wow. What a game that was. We both were wrong on this one. I really thought this was going to be a great game. Shady Spring played so well in that game one. Since then, it has gone all downhill, and it's because what you just talked about, those turnovers, man.
Absolutely. Those 2 pick sixes really changed the momentum of the entire game. If those don't happen, that's 14 points off the board for the Grizzlies, and all of a sudden you're potentially looking at a 24-24 game roughly at halftime, and who knows what happens from there. Maybe they still score the same scores that they did in the second half, but then that score would have been possibly a 1-score game, would have been a lot closer there.
Absolutely, and this is the thing here. That was, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday, that was a Nicholas County team that was desperate. They were 0-2 going into this matchup. If you go into a matchup on week 3 0-2, it is full desperation mode. You cannot go down 0-3 and think that you're going to make the playoffs. So Nicholas County came in hungry, they came in mad, and Shady Spring should have known that. If you know that, you can't throw interceptions and help them out even more.
Absolutely. I could really sense the hunger that this defense had, hunting for turnovers the way they did and getting the turnovers in crucial spots to make sure they can keep the momentum going. That was kind of the thing. It was tied early, but then the snowball effect happened, just kept building and building and building, ultimately leading to their win.
Yep, and now Nicholas County with that win, they're right back in it. Now they can start to reel some off and maybe get back in that playoff picture. We are just getting started. What about Bluefield and James Monroe? 2 teams vying for double-A playoffs. Are they going to make it? What is that matchup like? Midland Trail trying to go 3-0. And how impressive do they look? And then Greenbrier East versus Allegheny. All of that is coming up right after this.